Sonic Wave Deluxe. This is a fully decorated, healthy, tall and extreme demon with atrocious gameplay, glow slop decoration, and about every other bad thing I could think of to make this the ultimate worst upcoming top 1. We'll finish building this entire level in today's episode, and I'll be showcasing it at the end of the video. This is a sequel to my last video where we made the first half of this level, and y'all gave me some genius suggestions to make this even more despicable. So let's see what we can cook up. So here's where we left off. It was day 9 and we are decorating the second super buffed wave. Now we got some little structures in the background here. Also make some cool little indicators. I actually lost the footage of making the block design here. It's kind of unfortunate because I like how this looked a lot. But yeah, hopefully I can make this last half quite a bit better than the first half. Alright, now we got a gradient that's just flashing in your face. There are going to be some visible hitboxes here, but I'll put a little indicator, I guess. Let's just make it randomly get blurry over here because why not? Yes, look at that blur. Alright. Now time for some more super buffing. Let's find some good obstacles to put in here. This seems like a nice idea. Wait, I have an amazing idea. What if we put a mini portal here? Okay, I'm not gonna make you do this spam with a mini wave, but this little area will be cool. Yeah, this is gonna need like $1 million bounty if I ever want this to get verified. I'm gonna make sure this part is quite difficult. I'm gonna make sure when you go back into the big wave here, it'll just be the most atrocious transition possible. I tried to record a macro to buff the level too, but that wasn't working out. Why is the macro breaking whenever I get to the mini wave? And yeah, I didn't have the energy to deal with that, so I kind of just peaced out for the day. Anyways, on day 10, I actually remembered to do something very important. Now, I'm actually going to do something a little bit earlier in the level. A lot of y'all are telling me I should switch out the ship with swing, so why don't we do that? Remember, I still want this pre-drop to be free, because we all love cutscene pre-drops. I had to nerf it a little. Oh my goodness, the swing part is very possible, and it's so miserable. Alright, once again, we've got our hitbox trail, so you know the drill. Suffocate it in objects. Calm little fixed hitbox right there. If you think this part looks difficult, we're gonna love what we do at the last few clicks. Let's add a little dragon in here. W hitboxes. We're gonna do a little bit of hitbox abuse for this one click. And you cannot touch this portal. These are some glorious buffs. Alright, let's apply all of our saw designs. Grab around our spike designs. I got 2 words for you. Copy and paste. Of course, every good level abuses copy and paste, so that's what we're doing. Okay, I think we got all the deco in here. I like this. Let's just add a really obnoxious camera rotate trigger here. We got ourselves a pretty cool little block design here. Also, I do feel like this part is a little bit too easy, so we're gonna add a small teeny tad buff to it. Alright, now that that part's done, let's move on to the next part. So we'll just add some very tight spam here. Gonna make you do like double clicks in these slopes. Alright, here we go. We got a nice macro here. I think it would be a good idea to add a sound effect here. Let's just look for a good sound effect. Oh yeah, that's fire. And then add some intense spamming to make this as inaccessible as possible. And lure the spam path with some random spikes. Now I have a good idea for a few of these spikes. I have a question for you. Do you think these spikes would be possible with accurate hitboxes? Well, let's see. Remember, if this gameplay looks like something you enjoy, well, this will be an open verification, so be prepared. Alright, we'll add another fading screen, so the last few clicks of this part will indeed be blind. We'll add some random icon flickering just to make it harder to see, and I recycled more decoration. The decoration at this part looks a lot different than the older decoration, so we're kind of getting collab syndrome without it even being a collab. Alright, I'm almost done with this part, but I need to add a little more. We just need our fair share of edgy text. Alright, that is all good to go. Nice. Now let's start this memory cube. First of all, mirror portal. And I probably won't actually buff this gameplay much at all. It's really just going to be about the visibility here. I need to make this as like confusing as possible. Oh, and I knew just the way to do that. Okay, wait, I might keep this glitch trigger. That just makes it impossible to follow where your icon is. Now it looks like the glitch trigger just like duplicates your icon. Alright, we add some random question marks around here. Anyways, that is about all for day 10. And of course on day 11 we got back to the cube maze. So I think here it could be cool to add some fire in the background. I may or may not recycle these clouds. Alright, let's see what we can do for this block design. So yeah, I made this glow traffic light looking really lazy block design. We may or may not recycle these. Yeah, it's maybe the most flashy and most unhealthy part for your eyes to look at. This is certainly a sight to look at. It's torturous to the eyes. You can't see anything you're doing. This is just memory at its peak. Alright, now it is time for the last wave part. Now, of course, an amazing level would definitely have a super duper chokeable ending. So I'm gonna make this whole wave part pretty hard here, but then after the speed portal, we're going to make the hardest ending ever. I need to make this ending like about the difficulty of a main list. Alright, back at it with the random gravity portals. A mini portal here. It would be more awesome if you couldn't even tell that it exists. existed. And we'll add a blind transition right before this portal. Alright, we got our very epic macro here. Stretch spikes, random dual portals, invisible hitboxes, you name it. Sacrificing playability for difficulty is always the move. Alright, look at this amazing gameplay. Is this peak or is this peak? Okay, I have no idea what to do for deco here though. Alright, we gotta create a brand new 9 circles effect. Trying to get these pulse triggers which operate the 9 circles effect to work well. It's very time consuming for some reason. So yeah, I got bored and I just peaced out for the day. On day 12, why have I spent 12 days of my life building a health-themed Sonic Wave remake? Anyways, after playing around with some frozen animated objects in Glow, I ended up with a 9 circle slope design that I'm actually very happy with. Alright, I think that we'll just go with this. Alright, now we gotta finish our saws and spikes. And yeah, I basically use the exact same concept for a new spike design. Okay, wait, this is looking pretty cool actually. This also looks gonna be quite a bit faster to decorate than the first wave part, even though this looks way better, which I don't know why it works like that. Alright, I have this saw design here, which is totally not half stolen from earlier into the level. We'll bring back this vortex background. Alright, we're just gonna need some foreground objects and some particles and a little air deco, and then we should be good to go here. And for some air deco, I use a very original idea. Alright, we created a little Kolak lightning effect here. Now, because of this, it's starting to look like aerial gleam. Either it looks like Sakupan circles or aerial gleam. There's no in between. For some finishing touches of this part, I had some particles, brought back some of the indicators. Alright, we're making some foreground slopes here, and they're turning out quite well. This foreground has 2 jobs. To make the level look a little cooler and to also obstruct the player's vision. Alright, I think this part is about done. I think this is probably the best part of the level so far. And now it was time for what I was excited for, making the most chokeable ending ever. Of course, I am going to put a mini wave in here and some random gravity switches. Okay, how do I put my name here instead of Cyclet? Yeah, making this 1.9 block font thing was very hard for me. Alright, well, this is the best I could do. So I'm gonna just set up this last spam while I'm at it. Basically, we're gonna move this up 1.5, and I'll make this object lower down on you. Alright, finally, let's go record a macro. Alright, now check out this last spam. Let's watch this macro. Oh, come on! Why does something always have to break? I'm literally gonna buff this part like as much as I possibly can, with it still being, you know, like physically possible. Alright, let's see what we can do here. Let's see if it's still possible actually. It's not. The first click is already impossible. So yeah, this was trial and error of cramming spikes as much as I can without it killing the player, which a lot of them did. Wow, a lot of the things I buff, it actually becomes impossible when I do. Like, yeah, I buffed that by a micro step and now the player's dead. I think this has to be the hardest part of the level. If anyone does this to 100, you're just insane. Wait, I want to test something. If I move the start position down by a micro step, let's see how many deaths we'll get in no clip. Oh my god. We get 15 deaths in no clip because I moved it down by a micro step. And we're almost done with this masterpiece. Anyways, I did a bit of off-camera building. I finished up the decoration here and added another ominous text. Alright, well, I think that this part is about done. We've added some edgy text, but of course we are not even done with this level. Yes, we are making a super duper long end screen. However, I'll do that tomorrow because I've been building for like 5 hours today. We are almost there. All right, everybody. So I did do a little bit of off-camera building because I didn't think it'd be super interesting to record, but we made the end screen. We added a bit of corporate slop to it. And yeah, this end screen takes up the last 18% of the level. Isn't that peak? You will get to see it later. Now, I am going to go back through every single part of the level and add any things that I forgot to add. Here I'm just adding a teeny bit more pulsing to these objects at the start, just so there's a little more life here. Now I do want to make the swing a bit easier because this level is supposed to have a cutscene pre-drop, so we did a little bit of trust to action to this part. Alright, yeah, the swing part's about a good difficulty now. It's perfectly obnoxious without being too hard. We'll put in a cool little artwork right here. Now one of y'all, I don't remember who exactly, recommended I added some random triggers in this level that just kill you if you get unlucky, so we're actually gonna do a little bit of that. Douglas was hungry. I'll also put a sound effect with it. Let's go with 10% chance. It is beautiful. However, we're gonna be a little bit evil, and we'll also put this in the second wave. We're gonna do this one more time, and I know what you're thinking. This might look a little evil right at the end of the level, and that'd be like, you got a point. So we're not gonna have Douglas here, but rather we're gonna have a spike diamond here at the very end of the level. But I will keep the spike diamond very, very small, so it's not 100% chance of death, so you do have the odds of getting the unlucky ending. Alright, that's all I have time for today, folks. Actually, later that night when I was on GD, I decided to once again try the first double click to see if I can pass it. After 100-something attempts and hundreds of old attempts, I pulled a miracle. Oh my god, I passed it! What? Wait, I actually never thought the day would come. See guys, I could clearly verify this. It's not like I failed passing this click so many times where I doubt if it was even physically possible. And on day 14, I high-key forgot to record my mic, so you don't get to see the bit of what I did. Yeah, basically off camera, I added a few coins to the level, some moving objects to that one cube part, and yeah, a few little things. I spent the rest of the time adding these big invisible hitboxes to block off secret ways. I had to nerf the last wave just a little bit so it was like possible. And I may or may not have made an interesting artwork that'll, let's just say, help me get on showcase channels. And yeah, you'll see that soon. But I bear good news. After 14 days of blood, sweat, and tears, using all of the most atrocious ideas I can possibly think of, Sonic Wave Deluxe is finally complete. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what you've all been waiting for. I present to you the worst level in all of Geometry Dash. Holy moly, you could not even begin to comprehend the pain I went through to record that showcase. It was 2 hours of macros breaking, discovering impossible clicks, and yeah, okay, rant is over. I'll put the level ID in the pinned comment, but it's honestly way easier to just search Sonic Wave Deluxe, so yeah. And of course, this level is an open verification. If anyone would like to play this for any reason, well, I dare you to. Be warned though, because I'm pretty sure the ending and the 40% gap are not possible without click between steps or click between frames, so make sure to have that on. But yeah, I had a lot of fun building this monstrosity, and honestly, I really liked how some of the last waves turned out. This was a good time indeed. As surprising as it might be after seeing this level, I have a whole series where I went on a mission to make good gameplay, so if you'd like to see more level creation videos like this, I got you. And here are some more cool videos I have, like Suffering on Extreme Demons. Anyways, let me know if y'all want to see a video or at least a few shorts of me trying to get anywhere on this level. But yeah, for what's next, I actually really want to start a super ambitious level, but that may happen soon, so beware. But yeah, love you all. Thank you very much for all the recent support. It motivated me to spend multiple hours of the day getting this video out as soon as possible, so here you go, and see you next time.